To make these gorgeous characters inspired by Stella McCartney and Stevie G's new packaging for Stella McCartney Kids, we need some empty boxes. We're going to recycle things from what we already have at home. So I found some boxes and some white paper, and I'm fitting it around my box. So I'm scoring the edges. I draw around the box, and then where it needs to be folded, I use my ruler and the edge of a pair of scissors, and I just slide my scissors along that line to create a really sharp fold. This means that everything's neater and easier to deal with. I'm using tape and glue and trying to hide any of my joins. So I start off using the tape, and then when I'm covering it up, I use glue so that the whole thing looks clean and white and it's easier to paint on. Most tapes are plasticky, so they'll be difficult to paint on, or you'll be able to see them through your paint. When I've finished, I'm going to have a look back at my designs and the things that I drew when I was planning, and I worked out a few different heads and bodies, legs, feet, accessories like hats and things, and I'm going to start thinking and choosing which ones I would like to go onto my boxes. To let those dry with some glue on, I put some elastics on and then go back to my designs. And once they are dry, I've got some permanent pens to work in. So I've already practiced sketching these out, and I don't need to do it in pencil, but if you're more comfortable sketching in pencil first of all, then by all means do. I'm using a permanent brush pen, but equally a Sharpie would work, or any kind of non-water-based pen, which means it won't smudge when you paint it. So I've got my 4 different parts, and now I'm scraping around to find acrylic paint at my house because I don't usually paint with acrylic at home. So I've found some acrylic fabric paints, a couple of tubes of acrylic, and I'm mixing up some colours. I want to emulate the bright colours that they've got. So one that I'm really lacking is a nice sort of bright light blue. So I've mixed a phthalo blue with some white acrylic, and I'm just checking that it's going to work. I've got a piece of paper here for testing all my paints out. Now I've got 2 different kinds of brushes. You can watch the colour change as I work. One's green and one's blue. The green one's for details, and I'm working around all the shapes with it. And then I use the blue brush, which is a wider flat brush, to fill in larger spaces so that I don't need to spend an awful lot of time doing that. It also has the bonus of smoothing out the acrylic, which can look kind of patchy if you're not too careful. You can also see that I dug around and found some pens that would work and be strong enough for this too. They're not normal felt tips. I've got a few Sharpies, I've got an old paint pen, I've got some Posca pens, and I've only got a few of each colour at home. So it's hard for me to use all the same material for doing this, but I'm going to make it work. I'm working with what I have. So the acrylic is important because it's bright and it's impactful and it looks really similar to what's been done on the Stella McCartney boxes. Of course, they've used computer generated art. It may have come from a sketch originally, but the solidity of her colours is because they've been professionally printed and that you can't see any brush strokes or anything. So I'm trying to go with that, but I'm happy with a little bit of texture in my paint because it can't be identical. I've got a couple of those pens that I'll use for a few details here and there, and mostly I'm painting. I've even, as I said earlier, got some fabric paints, which is not ideal, but they seem to be working quite well for this job. So just change between your brushes, fill the large spaces with a larger brush so that it smooths things out and it looks better. Also, I would paint the outsides of your boxes if you have time. For the demonstration, I'm just currently working on the tops, but I'll do that later on so that I can put these in my gallery of all my home learning. Enjoy the colours and enjoy having a little play with these. Well done, everybody.